It's an inspiring book. Again, all too often people forget about learning. It's amazing. They think it ends in school. And what Russell's book reminds you of is all the great people in the world that say the exact opposite, and how everyone that achieves anything of note, maybe there's some exceptions, but just about everyone has this in common and believes that if you're a great at lifelong learning, if you're on the path to mastery, you can do great things in the world.
I really enjoyed Russell's book. I loved the way he's able to succinctly package complex ideas. I think Russell's probably got the art of cliff notes, down to a real science. So he's persuasive and he's synthetic, and he can present ideas in a simple way without being simplistic. His book really outlines the ways that people can become a lifelong learner. So it's very practical.
What I like most about it is that it's essentially a compendium of ideas, right? And that he draws on the quotes and insights of some of the world's most profound thinkers in a way that it anchors us to the everyday. So he takes these ideas and quotes, puts them and structures those ideas such that we can relate to that. And each chapter, each page, really insight, right? This idea that we can learn from other people, but we can also learn in a manner that's going to progress us and move us forward. And I also like the developmental component to his book, that there's a pattern of growth that we're all going through, and that by just spending some time and embracing that, we may better ourselves in the process.
I think the idea of having a learning plan, it's again one of those kind of urgent versus important things that's tough to carve out the time for. Having a plan for what you want to learn and why. And I don't think you can be too anal about that. There's times you just want to pick something off the shelf because it grabs you at the moment. But there's some things within your space, within your career, or even with your kind of side passions or hobbies, that you maybe want to say, what's the main things I want to learn here, and how should I go about that? Because we don't have a lot of time, and we can only read so fast, and we can only take in information so fast. So I think, I like the ideas in there about kind of planning, and the idea I think you said in there, like, you should be reading a lot. Like, just being a learner means reading a lot, taking in a lot. And I've tried to reduce my kind of TV time, or reduce it down just to the shows that I think are really, really high quality. I'm not an anti-TV guy. I just think I could waste a lot of time in front of the TV and do more taking in information kind of naturally and throughout the day. And I think it's smart.
The part that I liked about it so much was that there were fundamental lessons in each respective piece of the book that allowed you to embrace a concept around learning and be able to understand how it can be put to practical use. And then I think all the quotes from all the different leaders from around the world and throughout time, they continue to inspire and motivate you, and it just it drives you towards figuring out ways that you can push yourselves to be better. Yeah. And for those reasons, I think the book is just a fantastic tool to help people continue to grow. So it's a great book to revisit over and over again.
Two things I really thought were really effective. One is an hour a day of reading. Having a plan of an hour a day reading, I think, is a wonderful base concept, right? And that planning step is really important. If you don't plan to learn, you won't learn. I see too many people, particularly in the IT industry, out there doing stuff, and they don't take the time to learn that the next thing is coming down the pike. We're all guilty of not planning to learn, and if we don't plan to learn, we won't actually do it. And then the other part I thought was really interesting of the points in the book around executing the plan, being out there and putting it to use. And making that learning real. That's a really important concept that I think come out really, those 2 points really stick out in what he's written here.
A really good quality of the book is that you can open it up pretty much at any point and absorb the book in a nonlinear way. So it's not a strictly have to start at the beginning and go through the end, where any particular point there, and it's almost like a serendipity thing. It's open it up. If you get engaged with an area, pick something up, having that affect you for that part of the day, and then coming back to it after. I think that's one of the things that it's almost like a resource book for reinforcing learning.
What I like about his book is the simplicity and directness of it. It really codified what his message was about becoming a lifelong learner. Like there was a quote I read from Lincoln there, which was, "I don't think much of a man who's not wiser today than he was yesterday," which means we need to be lifelong learners. And I think anytime someone has a higher purpose, and it's a genuine higher purpose, that's significant and that's important, and that's something we should listen to. And his, about lifelong learning, if we want to make the world a better place, that is at the core of it.
I believe that in-school learning is incredibly important, but I also believe that continuing, learning is also, and I think you're on to something in terms of really, it's a gap in our educational system, right? Arguably, that a lot of people get done with college or their graduate degree and kind of do this and move about their life. So I think you're onto something.
Just like Russell, I think it's extremely open, and I think it explores the passions of a lifelong learner. Russell's on a mission to make the world a lifelong learner, and I think the book is the first step.
Don't wait. Get your copy of Learning today, and you will begin to discover amazing new worlds of intellectual wonder. This is one book that you will read not just once, but over and over again as you discover new insights and themes within the brilliant minds of the world's greatest learners.